What is up, everybody? This is DTN, host of the Patriots Talk Show. So, originally, I was planning to invite my other friend, who is also the co-host of Patriots Talk. Unfortunately, he's going to be a little busy for the first few minutes of the show. But yeah, we'll just get started by just talking about what the show it is. Today, you guessed it, we're going to be doing a recap of all the free agents we have signed throughout the past 2 weeks. So, I don't know how many we've signed, so let me just take a look how many we signed. So, we signed about like 13 free agents, as far as I'm concerned, and we're just going to get in depth in order from the time they were signed, what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are, and we're going to talk about their grades and like their stats and a lot of stuff. So this show is going to be fun. Chad, how are we doing today? Okay. So yeah, this is going to be fun. Just to let you guys know, this is my first live stream on here on the StreamYard. This is also powered by StreamYard. So if you guys want to learn how to stream or you want to try out streaming, you can use the link in the description down below. And if you're interested in wanting to call in, taking your questions, comments, and your thoughts about the free agents that we signed, you can use it in the pinned comment in the top of the chat. So, today we're going to begin with our very first free agent. And I have him right here. So, hold on, let me just change the layout. So, we got our guy, Harold Landry. So, this guy, even though we did not like sign him within like the legal tampering, we got this guy through like as a free agent. We picked him up before legal tampering because he was released by the time. So basically he did not stay with the team until like legal tampering. So he didn't get picked off or anything. So he was released and we claimed him. So about Harold Landry, this guy, this is his last season. His grade overall was 70.5, which ranks 51st out of 211 qualifying edge rushers. His pass rush grade, however, is a 49.6, which ranks 197 out of 211 edge rushers. And then for run defense grade, he was given an 82.2 grade, which ranked 7th among 211 edge rushers, which is really good. So basically, what we're learning is that based off of last season, Harold Landry is good against the run. Is Terrell Williams going to be utilizing him to his full potential? That's going to be the question. We can tell that he recorded 42 solo tackles, which ranked 4th out of 211 edge rushers. He recorded 9 sacks, which ranked 19th out of 211 edge rushers. He had 16 assists, which is 4th out of 211 edge rushers, and he had 4 fumbles. He recorded like 878 snaps. Against the run, he recorded 366 run defensive snaps, and then for pass rush snaps, he was 23rd with 423. So he's not going to be like your number one or edge rusher. He's not going to be the most impactful, especially at the age of 28. So he's on a 3-year, $43 million contract. Let's just take a look to see if I'm correct, just to make sure that I got some clear evidence, make sure that I got the information correct. Yes, he signed for a 3-year, $43 million contract. So that's 14 per season, and that so by the time he's 31, he's gonna be a free agent. By the time he's at the age of 31, so my thoughts about Harold Landry. I like the signing as a Patriots fan, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. Yo, we got King Jamie in the house. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well, my friend. And hopefully Jaden's back with the pizza, but we will continue on with the next free agent that we signed. So this was more of a re-signing. We got Austin Hooper for a 1-year, $5 million deal. So yeah, with Austin Hooper, he's definitely a safety blanket. Yes, King Jamie, I made you a moderator just to make sure that if we got enough like people watching this, I think that hopefully you can moderate. Hopefully we can control the chat, making sure that there's like no horsing around, no stupidity, no dumb things. We're just gonna keep it football. We're gonna talk Patriots. We're gonna have fun. So with Austin Hooper, we signed him to a 1-year, $5 million deal. I like this, especially for a safety blanket for Drake May. This guy, he has done really well paired with Hunter Henry as the tight end duo. It seems like our tight ends have been really consistent, even after Gronkowski retired in 2018, after the 2018-2019 season. We didn't get much with the other two tight ends I'm not going to name because of what happened. But when we got Hunter Henry in free agency of 2021, this guy, he has been a safety net for Mac Jones. He has been a safety net now for Drake May. And he even though Hunter Henry recorded 2 touchdowns, Austin Hooper, however, I have his stats. So last season, he recorded 40. He completed 45 passes for 476 yards and for 3 touchdowns. So that's really good. A lot of progression compared to last season. I know that he spent 1 season prior to last season. It was with the Raiders, and that's when Josh McDaniels was the head coach. And obviously, we're not going to talk about Josh McDaniels' regime because we know for a fact that it was bad. We didn't want to talk about like how much hell it went for Josh McDaniels. You know that none of the players really like Josh McDaniels as a head coach, and you can see why they fired him. So I think that when we think of Austin Hooper, I know he's gonna be 31 next season. But at this point, you really need a tight end to be like a safety blanket for Drake May, considering the fact that Austin Hooper has been really consistent. He has been like a consistent tight end for us, especially at this age. And I know for a fact that Josh McDaniels loves utilizing that 12 personnel. He loves utilizing this 2 tight end formation. And Drake May thrives through these tight ends. And I think that re-signing Austin Hooper is a great sign, in my opinion. So let's move on to our next free agent we're going to get into. We got our man, Carlton Davis. So with Carlton Davis, we signed him to a 3-year, $45 million deal throughout the the legal tampering. And these are all his stats from last season. Unfortunately, he only played like 13 games because I don't know what game it was, but he suffered a jaw injury, and because of that jaw injury, he had to be out for the rest of the season. But during his time with the Lions, he recorded a 74.5 overall grade, which ranked 29th out of 222 cornerbacks. His pass rush grade, it was below average, which is 55th out of 222 cornerbacks. qualifying, so not bad, but not the greatest. But his run defense, however, against the run, he is 26th out of 222 cornerbacks qualifying. And then in coverage, he's good in coverage. He's not bad, but he's not like great, but he's really good against the coverage. He can cover several wide receivers. So basically Mike Vrabel's and Elliott Wolf's thought process was to have somebody to pair up with Christian Gonzalez to be the number 2. So like Carlton Davis during his time in Tampa Bay and Detroit, he has always been this cornerback 1. In New England, you already have a cornerback 1 in Christian Gonzalez, and he proved to us last season that he can be your true starter, and he's the reason why he's the second All-Pro. Second team All-Pro. So I think that I love the mindset of Mike Vrabel getting Carlton Davis. I think that Carlton Davis, he's going to be a weapon. When healthy, that's my only concern. So his last season's statistics, he recorded 49 solo tackles, which ranked 41st out of 222 qualifying cornerbacks. He recorded 2 interceptions. Both of them were against C.J. Stroud, picked up by against C.J. Stroud when in the game against the Texans, which ranked 15th out of 222 cornerbacks qualifying. He recorded 0 total pressures, but he only allowed 43 receptions. We don't know how many yards, but unfortunately, I have the free access of using Pro Football Focus, or aka PFF, but I don't have the money to do that. But defense, let's take a look at his full statistics. He has 9 assists, forced fumbles. He only had 1 forced fumble, which ranked 11th out of all cornerbacks. 21 stops. Unfortunately, 8 missed tackles, so probably he can clean that up. He had a passer rating allowed, which is an 87.9, which ranked 128 cornerbacks. Excuse me. And total snaps against in coverage, he's ranked 51st when it comes to like snaps. So like 468 out of 697 snaps. So basically, he's good against the coverage. I could say that when we had DeMarcus Covington as our defensive coordinator, we used a lot of zone and using a lot of safety blitzes or secondary blitzes, which I was not a huge fan of. Basically, every Patriots fan was not a huge fan of like the zone blitzes or some of these packages. So under Terrell Williams and the fact that we have a proven head coach in Mike Vrabel, I know I'm going to be excited for what kind of packages that the defense will have. So obviously he's good against the run, so that's why he has 228 run defensive snaps and pass rush only 1 snap. So I think this is really good. Jamie comes in saying that $15 million a year is a good deal for Davis. I agree. I think that my only concern is his health, but as long as he stays healthy, I think that he could be a very impactful player on the field. And when he pairs with Christian Gonzalez, this cornerback room that we have, it's going to be a lot better than what we had last season. So I think Jaden is ready. Let's see what his thoughts are. Is the pizza back?
What?
Never mind. I was just wondering if you got the pizza.
So, folks, well, yeah, I'm done, by the way. So
okay.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I came in late because my dinner was coming in late, so I had to like eat it quickly. So yeah, no, I'm here.
Jaden, I don't know. Can you introduce everybody in the chat, who you are and what you're excited for?
I'm sorry for this channel future coming up, whatever exciting or any good things coming along throughout this channel in the future. So that's what I'm excited about.
Oh, definitely. I'm excited to see what this
I'm
future
excited for
has
the
in store.
next. I'm excited for the next season also to see how we can do better.
Yeah, especially when we have Mike Vrabel as our new head coach. I think that this is going to be a huge difference. When we had Jerron Mayo as our coach last season, only he spent 1 year. Unfortunately, things did not work well under Jerron Mayo. So now that we have Mike Vrabel as our proven head coach, and that he brought in some proven coaches to boost up this coaching staff, and on both sides of the ball. And I am so excited for what we have in store for us. So while you were gone, Jada, we went in depth by talking about edge rusher Harold Landry, and now, as earlier, I was talking about cornerback Carlton Davis. This guy is going to be a cornerback 2 alongside Christian Gonzalez. He's going to be this cornerback duo. What's your thoughts about Carlton Davis and Harold Landry?
Might be a good fit, probably. I don't know.
Okay.
But, yeah. I mean, I would hope that, he would. I don't know how to describe it, but I think he could, potentially be a fairly good cornerback for the Patriots.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I know that I talked about it while you were busy. That Carlton Davis, he was more of a number 1 for the Okay, Jamie comes back by saying, as a Chiefs fan, I'm super curious how well Vrabel does over there with you guys. More competitive divisions make us all better. The AFC is the best. 100% the AFC is the best. You always want to have a lot of competitive teams, even though there's some dislikes about the other teams just because of our history or rivalries. The only thing we care about is our competitive nature, and that's very important for all teams. Not just like with the Patriots, not just with the Chiefs, but with all teams, regardless if it's just the AFC and the NFC. And I think that's really important for a lot of teams. So we touched on Carlton Davis and his stats. I think that, yeah, he's definitely going to be a huge asset for us. So let's move on to our next player we signed. So we have Morgan Moses here, Jaden. So he's gonna be the right tackle for a right tackle for us. And so at the age of, I know he's at the age of 34, and we signed him to like a 3-year, $24 million deal. And we know for a fact that he did suffer. He played through injuries, and I think that even though David Andrews is no longer with the team, I don't know what your thoughts on David Andrews, our 10-year center being released by the Patriots. What's your thoughts on David Andrews' release before we get into Morgan Moses?
I'm not so sure about that, but I really swear to God that they made the right decision for that, to be honest, about what they're doing. No.
Yeah. As before we continue, we just talk about how David Andrews got released. So unfortunately, he did suffer a shoulder injury in week 4 against the 49ers last season. So he was like mediocre at best as a center. I know he was like a captain for us, but unfortunately that he didn't get any better. He slowly got worse. And I just think that David Andrews he didn't like improve. I don't want to say he improved, but as he get older and the injuries starting to catch up to him, you know for a fact that you desperately need a new center regardless. Like David Andrews, he's a good leader and all of that, but I just think that you need some young blood, but at the same time, you need some veteran leadership. And I think this is what you have in Morgan Moses. When I watched his press conference, Jaden, his introductory press conference for all the free agents, I thought his press conference was really impactful, and you can see his true leadership in him. And you know for a fact that the Patriots desperately need some true leadership in the locker room. You know for a fact that last season we had so much young talent on our team that they were not how do I describe it? They were not like disciplined enough. They were just getting carried away, going on social media, and that's definitely a huge problem when it comes to like the Patriots locker room and how young we're getting. But with under Morgan Moses, even though he suffered through injuries, I think that you have this leadership in him, somebody you can actually lean towards as an offensive line. And the fact that we got a huge upgrade at right tackle. I know you mentioned this, Jaden, earlier, that you want the offensive line to get better.
Yeah, correct. Not only that I want the offensive line to get better, but we probably need a defensive line to become better also.
That's correct. And we will get into some of our other free agents that we also signed, particularly on the defense, because I know for a fact that Patriots fans complain to Elliott Wolf that we didn't make any offensive splash. Just to let some of these Patriots fans know, we had so many struggles on the defense last season. We took a huge step back when it comes to the defense. We know for a fact that the offense is bad, but the only reason we're still competitive or still alive was because of our defense. And the Patriots' identity, even under Belichick, was defense wins championships. And the fact that the defense took a massive step back last season, I know for a fact that you need to sign a lot of these defensive players through free agency. But as we're saying this, we're going to continue. We're going to take a look at Morgan Moses' stats. So basically, his run blocking grade, even through injury, it was slightly below average with a 60.6 run blocking grade, which ranks 72nd out of 141 qualifying offensive tackles. His passing blocking grade is above average, which ranks 69.2. At rank 55th out of 141 tackles. So overall, he was overall graded a 63.3. Let me see. So he recorded 723 offensive snaps, which ranked 52nd out of 141 tackles. And during his time with the Jets, I know that majority of time he spent with the Commanders, but last season he played with the Jets. My only concern with him is that he had 8 penalties last season, and he allowed 2 sacks, which ranked 61st out of 141 tackles, which is a huge upgrade compared to DeMontre Jacobs. So we can take a look at this. So he allowed 2 sacks, 2 hits allowed, and then full pressure allowed. That's 16. So there could be, especially at the age of 34, that's a lot of huge progress compared to what we had last season, like when we had DeMontre Jacobs. What's your thoughts of like this guy and how he can be a huge asset and a leader in the locker room?
I mean, at 34 years old, that's fairly impressive. I bet he could be having good teammate chemistry for that. So
exactly,
could be good, about that guy. He might be good news.
Oh, he's definitely going to be great news, and you can feel his presence in the locker room, especially at the age. He could also be. I know that Morgan Moses, he is not like a long-term solution, especially at this age. So basically, he is here to be an upgrade in the offensive line, and you didn't have any other options at right tackle. He's like your only option because for a fact we do not want another year of Michael Onwenu as a right tackle. And now that we have Morgan Moses as the right tackle, you can push our best player, one of our best players, Michael Onwenu, back at right guard, which he strives through. So I think this is a huge improvement on the right side. Obviously, left side is going to be is going to be a huge need in the draft. And just to let you know, folks, that next week we're going to be doing a live mock draft. So I'm not going to be making a video out of this. This is going to be a live stream for the mock draft. So we're really excited for that. So let's move on to the next free agent. Hold on for a second. If I can hold on, let's go into Milton Williams. Just hold on for a second. Okay, we got Milton Williams. We signed this man to a 4-year, $104 million deal. Now, this guy, he's definitely young. He could be a huge upgrade in our excuse me. He could be a huge improvement to the defensive tackle. What's your thoughts on this man? Just to let you know, Jaden, that this guy, he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He recorded, I think, it was like one sack against Patrick Mahomes. Let me just take a look at his stats for last season, just to let you know, Jaden, just so you can get your thoughts. So last season, he recorded 11 tackles, 10 quarterback hits, 5 sacks. He had 1 interception, 1 forced fumble recovered, and then during the playoffs last season, he recorded 5 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and 2 pass deflections, and a forced fumble with a forced fumble recovered. What's your thoughts about that?
Wow, that's crazy. Even after winning Super Bowl, he just got signed to the Patriots. So I don't know. Could be good for. He could be a good decision for, to stop the quarterbacks. You saw how he did to Mahomes, right? So
yes,
he'll probably do really good against the other quarterbacks also. So it might be a good decision, in my opinion. So I'll probably give it a 9.8 out of 10. That is such a good one.
Especially for 4 years. He couldn't be him and Christian Barmore and the defensive line. Obviously, defensive line is also a need in free agency, but also in the draft. So I think that this is a huge upgrade, especially since we lost Devon Gotcha and Daniel Aquale, who are they're not starter caliber defensive tackles, but they're more backups at best. So Milton Williams, he's sure an upgrade. And we could see him and Christian Barmore, depending on Christian Barmore's health, like I mentioned in some of the other and some of the shorts that I do, depending on the news and all that. But yeah, I think this guy, he's going to be a great signing for the Patriots. I think that Mike Vrabel wants a guy who is really impactful, and I think Milton Williams, he's this type of guy. Now let's move on to this next guy. Oh, I love this guy. We have Robert Spillane. So he's currently 29 years old, and we signed him to a 3-year, $33 million deal. He played with the Raiders, but he did have connections with Mike Vrabel as a free agent, not undrafted free agent for the Titans. Unfortunately, he did cut that after 1 season, but last season he had one of his better seasons. He recorded 68.4, which ranked 66 out of 189 linebackers. I guess in the pass rush, he is looking at his grades, Jaden, I think he could be an edge rusher, specifically the fact that he is an outside linebacker. He doesn't perform well against coverage, but against the run and against the pass rush, this guy, he's really good. Against the run, this guy, he's going to be good at gobbling up running backs or gobbling up dual threat quarterbacks. So I think this is a huge improvement especially now in this day and age in the NFL where you have a lot of good running backs, not a dual threat quarterbacks. This guy, he's 8th out of 189 linebackers qualifying. So with his stats, he recorded 110 solo tackles, which ranked 3rd out of 189 linebackers. He had 2 sacks, 20, which is ranked 26th out of 189 linebackers. He had 47 assists. He had 0 forced fumbles. But yeah, so basically he is going to be really good against the pass rush and the run. So I think that Terrell Williams will utilize this guy against the run. So I think this is going to be really important for us, especially going up against the new generation of quarterbacks who are dual threats, and especially going up against these speedy running backs. What's your thought about this guy? Considering the fact that he is the second best option in free agency, our first best option was Jamien Sherwood, but unfortunately he did re-sign with the Jets to a 3-year deal. What are your thoughts about this guy, Jaden?
I mean, it could have was, but at least it's decent enough and not too bad, so probably good enough for a linebacker.
Yeah, especially that that our linebacker core is not as good, especially with Juwan Bentley going down with a knee injury.
Yeah. We probably need a new coordinator though for that.
Well, we do have a new.
Otherwise, what are we gonna do about the team?
Well, we do have a new defensive coordinator in Terrell Williams. He is definitely a big upgrade over DeMarcus Covington, who didn't do his job properly, and it shows why. So I think that when we had a new defensive coordinator in Terrell Williams, this guy, he's going to be really impactful, especially that you now have Mike Vrabel to support you. I think this is going to be a huge improvement for the linebacker. So I really love that move. And the fact that Terrell Williams, even though this is like his first season as a true defensive coordinator, even though he was the defensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans and that last season with the Detroit Lions, I think that with Mike Vrabel under center, I think that Terrell Williams can pick off his brain and understand what Mike Vrabel wants as a defensive coordinator. So this is definitely a huge improvement. This is going to be definitely a huge improvement. Yo, what's up, Edward?
Edward, chat, what's up?
Okay, let's move on to the next guy. So we're going to get into the next wave of free agents. So we're going to get into our only wide receiver, Mac Hollins. So basically, even though this guy, he is not like your true wide receiver 1 or 2, this guy could be a good wide receiver 3 or 4. Excuse me. He's definitely a huge upgrade in when it comes to special teams. For a fact with Jeremy Springer, the fact that he took a special teams which ranked one of the worst in special teams to now rank the 3rd. And especially 2 seasons ago, Jaden, when he was with the Raiders, this guy, he had his best season under Josh McDaniels. And the fact that he is reunited with Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, I'm glad that that Josh McDaniels is back. What are your thoughts on Josh McDaniels returning as our offensive coordinator for the Patriots?
That's really good news. I don't know what happened to him, but whatever happened to him, I'm just glad that he's back. So we'll probably do fairly good with that. So, yeah.
So, yeah, with Josh McDaniels, just to let you know, Jaden, that in 2022, he accepted a job as the. Of course, Edward know that McDaniels would be back. But just to let Jaden know and everyone else that doesn't know, McDaniels did get a head coaching offer for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2022. But then, obviously, the Raiders, they regressed a lot. And we knew in 2023 he would get the boot. So that's what happened. And obviously, Josh McDaniels, during his time not coaching, he went to several colleges learning about different offenses, trying to learn like what the what is it? Trying to learn like new offensive plays. So I think that he's trying to pick some of these other brains of the offensive minds. And I think that this is going to be a huge upgrade for the offense, considering the fact that we had 4 different offensive coordinators, which Patriots can tell that they did not like these changes ever since Josh McDaniels left for that head coaching job. And now that he's back. But I think this is like a huge improvement. It's going to be back to where it was. So it's not going to be like Tom Brady level, but now that he has a quarterback in Drake May, even though that Cam Newton, he was this dual threat quarterback, Drake May is that type of dual threat quarterback. And you need to find ways to, to make sure that Drake May is protected. He's developed properly. He gets the production that he needs properly, especially that last season was, even though it wasn't like the best season, we hit on the quarterback. He's going to be definitely our future for the Patriots.
Agreed.
Edward comes in and saying, I don't know if May is going to be able to learn all of McDaniel's system. Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that he might, though.
Yeah, even though that Jacoby Brissett would be back, considering that he spent 1 season with Josh McDaniels, even though he only played like 1 or 2 games as a starter. But I think that with Joshua Dobbs, who we will get into later in the stream or later in the show, that we're going to talk about like how Joshua Dobbs could be this backup quarterback to Drake May. But we need to move forward because we need to continue where we left off with Mac Hollins. So basically, he last season with the Buffalo Bills, he had 31 receptions, 378 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. You know for a fact that Mac Hollins, I know Buffalo Bills Mafia, they were crying when they found out that Mac Hollins would no longer be a Bill and he's now a Patriot. I think this is going to be a 2-year, $8 million deal, which is really a good contract for Mac Hollins. I think that he's going to be used a lot in special teams. I don't know how Jeremy Springer is going to be utilizing him, but I know for a fact that this is going to be a huge upgrade for the New England Patriots special teams. So yeah. What are your thoughts about Mac Hollins? I know that in our other stream, you did not know, you've never heard of Mac Hollins, but what's your thoughts of like how he's going to be a huge asset for the special teams or the offense? Considering the fact that our wide receiver core is very young, we know that we have so many complaints about our wide receiver core, considering the fact they were not disciplined. They were acting like they were in college. With Mac Hollins in there, he could be this veteran presence for the wide receiver core. What's your thoughts?
I mean, some wide receivers had a lot to learn, but this guy right there, he's probably good news for the backup for the Patriots, unless he's on a starting lineup. But I don't know. But overall, he's still gonna be good anyway on the Patriots. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I think. Yo, what's up, Ashton? What we have in there? Also, just to let everybody know, if you want to get your thoughts, what's your thoughts on the free agency so far, you can go into the pin comment down below, and you can get in your questions, comments, thoughts. We'll read them all. So excited that I can get to meet you guys for the first time and call, just to get in your thoughts and questions or comments about like these free agents that we signed. So let's move on to the next guy. We got Joshua Dobbs. So Joshua Dobbs, even though he didn't spend like majority of his time with the 49ers, at least he was a serviceable backup quarterback. Let's take a look at his So basically, this is his stats. So he had a good passing grade which was below, which ranked 55 out of 75 qualified quarterbacks. He had a 56 overall, which is 59 out of 75 qualified quarterbacks. So he had 2 passing touchdowns. Unfortunately, he had 2 interceptions. But let's take a look at last year's stats. Okay, so unfortunately I won't be able to see last season, but I know for a fact that he was a serviceable backup quarterback for Minnesota when Kirk Cousins went down with the injury. He was really good in the very beginning as Patronaut, but towards the very end, he started to regress, knowing for a fact that he is not like your true starting quarterback. This guy, he is definitely going to be a good backup quarterback. And the fact that we got him for like a 2-year, $8 million deal, I think that's what it is. But I think that the fact that you got him as our backup quarterback to mentor Drake May, what's your thoughts about him? Considering that he's an upgraded Jacoby Brissett.
Well, he probably might be a good backup quarterback, though. You know, like at 30 years old, quarterback, like what? Like you said, he came from the 49ers, right?
He spent 1 season with the 49ers. Last season, he spent with the Vikings. And then before he got traded to the Vikings, he was with the Cardinals. And then during his time, he spent time with the Titans. So that's where Mike Vrabel. Yeah, Ashton comes in saying, let me show you so you can read this. Ashton comes in saying, would have rather have Flacco to mentor May, to be honest. Yeah, I like Flacco as a. I know for a fact that Flacco has the mentality that he wants to compete. He wants to be the starter, even especially at the age of 40. I know that he's not in his prime anymore, so he's not like what he once was when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. So, yeah. You gotta laugh at this, Jaden. And Edward comes in saying, another nobody backup mentor. May learning crap from that. Yeah, unfortunately. Edward, he loves the truth. Because for a fact of how bad the Patriots have been, especially that there was like no improvements, especially under Bill Belichick. So yeah, it's so funny, but you can understand Edward's humor. But yeah. But yeah, I know that Joshua Dobbs, he's not going to be like your number one, but he's definitely going to be your backup. We still don't know like the news about Joe Milton getting traded somewhere, but when the news comes out like post June 1st, I think he's going to be your start. He's going to be your quarterback number 2. So let's move on to this next guy. I've never heard of him, but he is definitely going to be depth. So we got Kyrie's Tonga, and we signed him to a 1-year, $2 million deal. So this guy, he recorded a 60 overall grade, which rate 83rd out of 219 defensive tackles. Last season he recorded 6 pressures. So he had 9 assists. This guy, I know for a fact that he is going to be like a body, but he's not going to be like your true defensive tackle as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, they're very funny, Ashton. We signed Tonga from WWE, show some respect. But yeah, about Tonga, he's definitely going to be a backup quarterback, a backup defensive tackle. He's going to be there as depth, so he's not going to be like your starting defensive tackle. But if Christian Barmore or Wilton Williams goes down, I don't think that's going to be the case. But with K Tonga, he's definitely serviceable. He could be like a rotation guy. I think he's definitely going to be a key guy that he could be used. And we're just going to see. I just hope that he's going to be a serviceable at least. What's your thoughts, Jaden, about this guy? I know you've never heard of him.
I mean, it sounds like a Nigerian name, but I don't know. He's got like 12 solo tackle. So I'm not sure that's a good fit, but what I'm gonna say is this: he could be a good backup defensive player, but he might not be as good as the other defensive players who are currently about to help out the Patriots on a rebuilding process.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, he's not gonna be like your true starting defensive tackle, but at least he's a respectful backup. I definitely know that he is the true upgrade over Daniel Qualley, who just signed a 1-year deal with the Steelers. So I think this is definitely somewhat of an upgrade over him. But yeah. Let's move on to this next guy. Hold on, let's just clear some of this. We got Clavon Chason. So this guy, we signed him to a 1-year deal. We know for a fact that he was a first-round pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He spent 4 seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had his best season with the Las Vegas Raiders, which is why we got him. But I think about this guy, he's definitely not going to be like your starting edge rusher. He's definitely going to be like a body behind Harold Landry and whoever we're going to be getting in the draft. So this guy, he had a 63 overall grade. He did really good against the pass rush, but he's like not entirely good against the run. But he recorded 20 solo tackles. He had 6 sacks. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
7 assists and 1 forced fumble.
Wow.
And if I'm that surprised, he ranked 58th out of 211 edge rushers in solo tackles, 42nd out of 211 edge rushers when it comes to sacks. Assists, that's 55th. And then 1 forced fumble, that's ranked 28th out of 211 edge rushers. So he also had 20 stops, 19 hurries, 4 quarterback hits, 29 total pressures. So basically during his time in Las Vegas, it's a better improvement compared to what he did in Jacksonville. Obviously, that his time, he was much of a reach. In Jacksonville, he didn't do much in Jacksonville. I think he was not like a good player, but when he was a Jacksonville Jaguar, but during his time as a Las Vegas Raider, I think that's a definite improvement, and I think that the Patriots saw as an opportunity to get him as depth, considering the fact that we did lose Dietrich Wise, and I know for a fact that Keon White, he is not a true edge rusher, and he's more like an interior D lineman. What's your thoughts about this guy, Jaden?
I mean, better than the last one. I mean, I don't know. He could be pretty good, but probably could use some help from him for good reason, though. Like, I think we do definitely need this guy so desperately if we're going to become better team that way.
Yeah. It's especially that the defense needs a whole lot of improvement. I think that this is going to be a huge improvement for our defensive line. And I know for a fact that defense needs a huge upgrade, in my opinion. So definitely this is going to be a huge improvement for the defense. Especially, we know for a fact that we banged the table for Elliott Wolf to sign the offensive free agents. But what any available free agents on the offense? I don't think so. So I think that we're going to continue talking. We're going to continue moving on to the next guy. So since David Andrews is gone, we signed another setter to be a yes, King JB. He said you guys are scooping up so many great players. This is pretty impressive. Yeah, I think that Mike Vrabel definitely has a vision. Same with Elliott Wolf. I think that this definitely proves that Mike Vrabel has a vision. He definitely wants to build in the trenches for on both sides of the ball. So this is definitely a huge upgrade
Well, which is a good sign, though. Which is a good sign, like.
Oh, it's definitely a good sign. So basically, we signed a Garrett Bradbury to a 2-year deal. He's 29, so he is a former first round pick in 2019 by the Minnesota Vikings. So what we learned about, so we know about this guy. He's good against the run, but he's not good at pass blocking. So yes, Hashton's coming in saying he's a decent bridge center, not a long-term center. And I could agree that he's not going to be here as a long-term, but whoever we draft or whoever we get, either as an undrafted free agent or in the draft, I think that whoever we get, he is definitely going to be our future center. And with Garrett Bradbury, I think he's going to be developing whoever we get as our future center. We don't know who that is, and possibly that Garrett Bradbury is there for like competition in the center base. So we got Brent Brown, and we don't know about Cole Strange if he's going to shift over from guard to center. So I think that you have definitely center. I think that Garrett Bradbury, he's a lot better than David Andrews and Ben Brown, but I think that against the pass, that's going to be worrying some, because considering the fact that you need to have a center that's really good pass blocking. So as a center, he committed 4 penalties, which ranked 51st out of 64 qualifying centers. He allowed 4 sacks, which ranked 58th out of 64. So not the best, let's say. Like, so that's my little worry to me, in my opinion, that he's our that he's our starting center. And I think that there's definitely going to be a lot of improvement coming with the offensive line. So this is not long term. So this is definitely long term. But this guy, he's like short term, as far as I'm concerned. But moving forward, you definitely really want to have a starting center. What are your thoughts, Jade?
He could be pretty good center ever since David Andrews left, so I would just say might be a good fit, but I agree he does have a short term, but that doesn't mean he's gonna like become one of the worst, like he's really gonna help out so much.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely help out in the offensive line, but he's not gonna be like a true center, as I would say. But I think that this is definitely a huge improvement over David Andrews, considering the fact that Garrett Bradbury has stayed healthy, and I know for a fact that he did decent again run blocking. So this could mean that we're definitely going to be running the ball a lot. So let's see how Ramondre Stevenson or Antonio Gibson is going to be utilized, considering the fact that Josh McDaniels, he loves his running backs. He loves to run the ball. So I think that considering how if Ramondre Stevenson can minimize his fumbles, considering the fact that his fumbling has been causing so many turnovers, which are definitely a huge no-no in my opinion. But yeah, I think that this is a huge improvement in my opinion. I think that when we have a center like Garrett Bradbury, I know that people in Minnesota don't like him just because of sucking against the pass blocking, but I think that you definitely need a center at this point. We don't want, because Ben Brown, he is not. Who can play guard? If you're lucky, he gets kind of center who can likely play guard. Yeah, maybe. But who knows that? We had Ted Carreras. He was a backup center for David Andrews at one point. Now he's the starting center for the Cincinnati Bengals. But during his time with the Patriots, he was more. He also played left tackle during time when David Andrews was the center. So yeah, I think we could see him utilized as a left guard. I don't know, but we definitely need a lot of bodies on the left side, but good quality bodies like starting caliber. Like he could block and not allow any sacks throughout the whole entire season, and that is definitely.
That's why we need offensive line to not get sacked so many times, so that all centers could be able to guard those defensive man also. You know?
Yeah. So consider the fact that we had a
So
defensive tackle. Go ahead.
so it's probably easier that way.
Yes. Considering the fact that we did have that defensive tackle converted to an offensive tackle, it was just a mess from there. But yeah, let's move on to our final prospect. I know that we'll talk about the offensive guard, Wes Schweitzer. He was a body for the Jet, but the problem is he only played one snap, so I'm not going to get into it. So this guy, we don't know what he's going to be like for the Matrix, but I know for a fact that he's like a practice starter at best. He's not going to be like your long-term solution, but he had that one good season in Atlanta, but that's it. So hold on, let's get into that final free agent, and then we will continue with the discussion. So we got Jack Gibbons, who we signed to a 1-year deal. This guy, he has connections with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, obviously. This guy, however, he recorded an 83.2. That's ranked 12 out of 189 qualifying linebackers. So let's take a look at how many snaps. So like he recorded like 232 snaps, so that's really good. So like he had 65 pass rushing grade, which is ranked 55 out of 189 linebackers. He was really good against the run, which ranked 28th out of 189 linebackers. And then again in coverage, he was ranked 75.7%, which ranked 13th out of 189 linebackers. So he had 24 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 13 assists. What's your thoughts about this guy? Considering that he was an undrafted pickup in 2022. This guy is definitely going to be a huge asset for us, especially for our linebacker. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Jaden?
I think it's a fairly good signing. Like, it's the best free agent player that we ever got this season, or this offseason. Sorry, this offseason, in my opinion. Like, this guy could be really useful for the linebackers if any of them are struggling. So, yeah, so, wow, like 24 still tackles could be useful in these situations.
Yeah, and looking at like his age, I don't know how old he is, but I know for a fact he's somewhat like in his 20s right now. So, but definitely this is gonna be a huge signing. I know that our linebacker core, it's not like really good since we have Jalan Tabai, especially the fact that he made these unnecessary comments about the fans, which I didn't find that necessary. And then with the Christian Ellis, he's really good against the cover. He's really good in coverage, but I know that for a fact that the Patriots have until Monday to match the offers with the Raiders since the Raiders signed him, since he's a restricted free agent. But yeah, I think that whatever we get, if we get Christian Ellis back, one linebacker would be the odd man out since we have a full linebacker core. We do have a upgraded linebacker core, so I'm really excited for the linebackers. So guys, so basically that's it for the free agents. Now we can get into like discussions, we can get into like calls. Once again, this is your chance to call with us in the pinned comment down below. But if you want me to send you the link again, I will gladly do so. Here is the link to the StreamYard if needed. So here's the StreamYard link. But so we will be talking about like which free agents you want. Like we could just Yes, let's talk. Yes, let's talk about this guy. Thank you for mentioning this, Edward. Thank you. I don't want drama queen Diggs, and I can totally agree. So for those who don't know, go ahead, Jaden. What are your thoughts? Should we get Diggs or not? In my opinion, we should not.
That was funny, that the joke that you made, but probably true though. I would just say it's fairly true that we don't want him at all.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs, he's much of a diva. Like he wants to get that production that he wants, and and that's the reason for Josh Allen's turnovers. But then again, when Stephon Diggs with the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen did had a good season. Unfortunately, he was a locker cancer room, not just for the Buffalo Bills, but prior to that, he was with the Minnesota Vikings, and Minnesota traded away Stephon Diggs for a better version of Stephon Diggs in Justin Jefferson. So I think that Minnesota was really smart about the decision. Buffalo ditch, and also the reason why is Stephon Diggs want to get traded from the Buffalo Bills, not just because of him being a diva and want to be a solo show, being the Stephon Diggs show, but he also wants money. He wants the money. That is not leadership. That's just selfishness in itself. And Edward gave a good explanation. He's gonna be a waste, won't play till mid-season, and he will be mid. Yes. Also, considering the fact that he did suffer an ACL tear last season, and I don't want this guy. I don't want this guy.
That's one of the worst injuries ever. Like, are you kidding me?
We could think of another person who had an ACL tear, like an Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but wait, did Mahomes have an ACL torn also, or no?
No, he didn't have an injury, but he did.
Oh, right. Because
well, he played through at injury and he won that Super Bowl. I remember that. But
yeah, but the problem with injury with Mahomes is that I think his ankle is literally in bad condition. Like whatever he like runs or like pass, like if you like playing too hard, like his ankle could easily get injured like that. You know?
Yeah. But also, Edward make another good point. I think we should trade for Myers, as in Jacoby Myers, and work with what we got. Yeah, so yeah, I think that we should trade for Jacoby Myers. I don't know what your thoughts on Jacoby Myers. So basically, he was a quarterback in what was it in NC State, and then he converted to wide receiver, and he has been a useful wide receiver, and he has been improving in Las Vegas. I think that if we get Jacoby Myers back, he's not going to be like your wide receiver one like he did during the Mac Jones era, but he could definitely be a serviceable wide receiver too, considering the fact that he recorded like eight touchdowns that season. Like he has looked a lot better with the Raiders, but I think that if we do get the Jacoby Myers back, but the thing is, we're going to have to remove some players on the wide receiver room. Like we want to like cut the wide receiver room just so that. But the thing is, that's not further development, considering that you have Pop, Booty, Polk, and Baker, and I know I hate Polk because of what he said in the on social media, like that he has the best hands, which I completely disagree. Ever since that Dolphins game, he has been a huge liability. Even though he got 2 touchdowns and like 98 yards, that's still not impressive, especially as a second round pick out of Washington. What are your thoughts on like if we should trade back, if we should get Jacoby Myers back on the Patriots?
I don't know, but I have no idea, but I don't know what Jacoby Myers is, so
he was like our wide receiver for the Patriots, so.
Oh, really? So I don't really know at all. What do you guys think? Like, I really don't know what he.
Let's see what everybody else everybody in the comments said. So Ashton says, if we work with what we got, help May, unless we draft Tet and Travis. LOL. I'm not a huge fan of Travis, considering he's like a mediocre. Considering that he played cornerback and wide receiver, and since we got Carlton Davis through free agency, it's gonna be weird to get a Travis Hunter, considering the fact that we don't want another cornerback, but maybe why he could. But we, depending on what Mike Vrabel wants, he could be like our wide receiver, but that could hurt the development of the other 4 wide receivers that we had. And then with Ted McMillan, he's definitely like a big guy, considering the fact that you could compare him to like Mike Evans, who was like this big wide receiver that Drake May can throw to. He could definitely be a huge improvement, since we definitely need a wide receiver 1 since the departure of Julian Edelman. But let's see what else people say. We have Ashton saying that I say draft a tight end, then a wide receiver, and see if he turns out as a wide receiver 1. So what you're trying to say, Edward, is we should get Tyler Warren, basically be under Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, and then draft a wide receiver, someone like a Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. My only concern is the left tackle position. Like, we don't know who our starting left tackle is. Until we get the left tackle situation, we can say that we could get like a tight end and then we could get a wide receiver. But that left tackle position needs to be filled. Do you agree, Jaden, considering that we need a left tackle?
If it's for the best, then yeah, probably.
Yeah, because we do not want Drake May to get sacked and then, get concussions like he did last season. But yeah.
Man, yeah.
So to answer your question, Jaden, Ashton comes in with a good answer. So Jacoby, he wasn't a good receiver. He had some catches, but he was let go for a reason. So if you don't know, Jaden, so basically Jacoby Myers, in that one particular game back in 2022, this was against Las Vegas, he made that one lateral catch, lateral throw, and it got picked off by Chandler Jones, he's non-existent now. But yeah, he was like okay. He was like okay, but he was not like the best wide receiver. But he's not like a bad wide receiver, but he's not like a good wide receiver. He's like a good, but not like one of those greats, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then Edward comes in saying, people want to see bombs, but I want to see playmakers. Yes, we want to see playmakers. That's what the fans have been hammering. The Patriot fans have been hammering for the Patriots to get. Like,
yeah.
My concern with the scouting team is that how many wide receivers we drafted that are so bad. I can list off any wide receiver. Like, I can think of like Tyquan Thornton. We got him because of his speed. We caught him. We got Trey Nixon. I don't know who that guy is. We got a Malcolm Mitchell. He was really good at one point, but then he fell off from existence. And now we drafted Pop. We drafted Booty. We drafted Jalen Polk, and we drafted Javon Baker. We got too many young wide receivers, and they definitely need some true development. What do you think?
Probably, I guess. Yeah. Could be good, though.
Yeah, definitely good. Once again, Edward and Ashton or anyone else, last chance for Collins. I remember I put the comment in the pinned comment up below to get in your thoughts, but we're just you're just gonna let you know that this is like a 1 hour show. We're just talking about the free agents, but if you guys want to chat with us, this is your only chance. So
yeah, before the time expires.
I wouldn't say the time expires before we have to get off and have to do other things. But any other thoughts, Jaden, on like what else we should be doing to make sure that the Patriots improve?
They need to fix offensive and defensive line. Not only that, but we also need probably a better linebacker also, but we just signed a better one, so we're probably going to be all set with that, but I think there's one thing missing.
What's the one thing missing that you think that
we probably need a better defensive coordinator.
Well, Terrell Williams is the new defensive coordinator, so we got that taken care of. But if I'm
so unless is he such a good coordinator like that?
So basically this guy, he's a first-time coordinator, but he has experience with the as a defensive line coach. So basically he was a defensive line coach for the Detroit Lions and the Tennessee Titans. So he worked with Jeffrey Simmons, he worked with Aiden Hutchinson, he worked with DJ Reader, and now he's going to get to work with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of run defense.
We're probably going to do better last year. That's my prediction. We're going to do better than last year.
Oh, 100% we're going to do a lot better than last year. I think that we're definitely going to make a lot of huge improvements as a team. Then again, I know for a fact that we're still in a rebuilding process, so we don't know like how many wins we're going to be getting, but yeah, but guys, we're going to have to sign off unless last call for call-ins, or unfortunately we're going to have to end this. I can wait for like the next minute or two, but we can continue the conversation. But you got it, guys. You got last minute calls, last chance to go for call-ins or unfortunately. Okay. Thank you, guys. Edward saying thank you, guys. So that's going to be for today's video. That's going to be it for today's short live show. We appreciate you guys hanging in, chatting with us, talking about some of the free agent recaps. Next week we're going to be doing a live mock draft, and hopefully we can get more people involved and help support this show. King Jamie, we thank you for the support. He said, "Great show, boys. Thanks for the show. I will call another time, bro." I appreciate for your support, Jamie, as always. He has been a contributor for all of the shows connected to the AFC East Roundtable. But if you guys want to see more shows like this with me and Jaden, I recommend you to subscribe, like this show, turn on them notifications, and we will see you next time. Let's go, Pats Nation.
Peace out.